we are going to wrap up the World Series. For those of you who don't know, if you missed it, if you weren't paying attention, if it snuck up on you and got past you, the Dodgers ended up winning the World Series 4-1, defeating Briggs Yankees in the Bronx in a wild affair in Game 5. We will get there. First, Brig, let's talk about Game 4.
Oh, boy.
So,
must we?
The Dodgers got out to an early lead, right? First inning, of course. Because why wouldn't he? Freddie Freeman hit a home run in the first inning.
No
and it
kidding.
was almost like, well, shoot, that was quick.
Exactly.
Was I the only one who thought that, Game 4?
Nope. Nope, you weren't. But it was also one of those
Death
where
taxes.
by then we were like, oh, yeah, okay. Get it out of the way.
Yeah. It was like death taxes and a Freddie Freeman home run at that point. You're like, yeah, that's how it's going to go. I loved, by the way, seeing the Yankee fans with signs that said, Freddie, please stop.
Yeah.
Just pleading with the man.
Pleading.
Just please, no more.
Just some clemency, please.
No more. Yes, exactly. But the Yankees came back. They scored 1 in the second. They scored 4 in the third to take the lead.
Yeah, that's right.
Pretty good. And that was
pretty good.
An Anthony Volpe grand slam.
Bro, Volpe had the game of his life in Game 4. He really showed did. So all the way up.
He did. And so this is one thing that I noticed with Volpe was he had that, I don't want to call it a base running blunder, but it was long fly ball to right field. I think it was by Austin Wells.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, is that Austin Wells deep line drive to center field. He thought the Kike Hernandez was going to catch it. He didn't, and he was standing on third when the play was over, and you could tell he was really frustrated. And sometimes I feel like guys are a little embarrassed on stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
that like,
and rightly so.
I could have scored. Should have scored. Yeah, absolutely. Because they feel it. We feel it. They understand, obviously, the gravity of the situation. Like, Volpe's like, yeah, I should have scored there. Absolutely. So,
totally.
There was that whole thing. And then he ends up scoring. Verdugo grounded out. He ends up scoring anyway, right?
Yeah.
But I think after that, it was almost like Volpe hit a second gear. He hit another gear and was like, that's it. It's not going to happen again. I've been there. I've experienced it. I know what it's like. Like, it is a thing where you're like absolutely humiliated by something. And you're like, that's never going to happen again. And I'm going to make up for it with everything that I do from here on out. And then you do. Because it locks you in.
That happens in life.
Right.
So, of course, it happens on the field, too. Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, it locks you in. And then from there on out, it's just, you're a different guy.
Yep.
So it happened with Anthony Volpe, and I'm really happy for him. And honestly, I'm excited to see what it does for him next season.
Me too.
Because there are some guys who get the taste of the World Series, get the taste of the postseason. They're like, I need that again. I want it again. We made fun of JD Martinez for saying he was addicted to the playoffs, but really, like, it's kind of a thing.
How can it not be a thing?
Right.
So one cool thing about Anthony Volpe's Grand Slam is that after the Game 1 Grand Slam and then this one, this set a record for MLB's Grand Slams in postseason history. 6. There were 6 Grand Slams this postseason. And that's the now the postseason record in MLB history. This was also the Yankees' 9th Grand Slam in World Series history.
And then I think there had been 3 hit against them in the World Series, right?
Something like that.
One was Freddie Freeman, then I think there were 2 others historically.
Yeah, one was Freddie. Yeah.
Yeah, so
boy, I'm still not over it, but that was epic.
It was, and it set the tone for the entire series.
It did.
For the rest of the series. Because you think about it, Brig, you think about the difference how this series goes if the Yankees win Game 1 and then leave LA with a split.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Difference in attitude. And I feel like difference in attitude was a big part of why the Yankees lost, was attitude.
A lot of people were saying on our TikTok that they felt like the Grand Slam took the wind out of their sails.
Yeah.
For the Yankees. And I don't know if that's necessarily the case because you can kind of recover. You learn how to recover fast. as a baseball player, but I think you're right. Is that there was a different attitude rather than being like, oh yeah, we got the first game, we got our split in LA. It's we literally did everything we could.
Yeah.
We were right there, but we did everything we could.
So then in the 8th, he gets a double, right? He gets a double in the 8th, and then the Yankees go on to score 5 in that bottom of the 8th inning.
It was 6-4 going into the 8th inning, and then the Yankees put up 5 there in the 8th to put it out of reach, and it's like, there's no way from here on out. No chance. And so really what it comes down to, though, Brig, is they call a 5-game series a gentleman's sweep.
Right.
You know, kind of like, we'll give you one. I don't feel like the Dodgers gave them this one, because I do think that they wanted to sweep them because their team was full of a bunch of killers. Like I do think they wanted the sweep and wanted it badly, but they just couldn't get it because the Yankees were fighting and clawing to stay alive. And so that's what happens. That's what happens in a game 5 a lot, or a game 4 a lot of the time when somebody's up, when they're down 3-0. Apparently not in the World Series though, because that stat that they shared where it like gets swept way more often than it goes to 5 games, that was bananas.
Yeah, that was wild. That was wild. You want to hear another fun fact?
Always.
Another fun fact is Volpe became the second player in World Series history to have a game with more than one extra base hit and stolen bases. Eddie Collins did it twice.
Oh, the second player in history. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Eddie Collins did it twice, and now Anthony Volpe. I know I'm a Yankees fan, and I'm excited about Volpe, but this is just game 4 stuff right now. We're going to get into game 5. Don't worry.
Right.
You're not all going to get homer stuff from me.
I do want to stay real quick on Volpe for a minute, though, because he was highly touted coming up last year as a rookie. The defense is there. The offense has not been. But I'm really, like, that's what I'm saying. Is like, I'm really curious what this will do for his confidence at the plate going forward, as far as shaping him into, I don't think he's ever going to be an offensive force, but if he can be a guy who comes through offensively just when you need him to, right? Who gets on base when you need him to, shoots a single through the gap, whatever,
right through the gap,
to drive in a run,
steals a bag.
Yeah, exactly right.
Drop a bunt down just at the right time, you know.
Mm-hmm. If he becomes an offensive menace, he'll be a very good player.
Yeah, 100%. According to Major League Baseball, MLB.com said that he is now the first Yankee with a grand slam and multiple stolen bases in any game at all since Mickey Mantle did it in 1962. That's regular season or postseason. And he's the second in all postseason history to do it, joining Shane Victorino in Game 2 of the 2008 NLDS. A grand slam and multiple stolen bases.
That's awesome. That's really
right?
Cool.
You said, I don't know if we should repeat it here, but you said something that was really funny about Anthony Volpe's Game 4.
Oh, the baseball mitzvah?
His baseball mitzvah, yeah.
Yeah. So I can't take a whole lot of credit for that, because I still out from Stu Gatz on Dan Le Batard. He always talks about a lacrosse mitzvah because he's a big lacrosse guy. Coaches lacrosse, his daughters play college lacrosse, and he talks about going to a lacrosse mitzvah. But that's what it felt like was Anthony Volpe's baseball mitzvah.
That's right? Exactly what it felt like. I just thought it was amazing. And all these statistics and fun facts and whatever are just proving it.
Yep, for sure. Absolutely. So the Yankees ran away with that one 11-4, stayed alive for at least one more day, and for what would end up being just one more day. Let's go on to Game 5.
That was it.
Because Game 5 was really interesting, because the Yankees came out in the first inning, and we had Aaron Judge 2-run home run, Jazz Chisholm back-to-back with Judge, early 3-0 lead. They ended up running Flaherty early. Flaherty went 1 1/3, gave up 4 runs, walked 1, struck out 1, 2 home runs.
Yeah.
And I told you, I was like, this is what I was worried about with Flaherty from the beginning, is that he was capable of this. You didn't know which Flaherty you were going to get. And getting him starting Game 5 didn't look good. Back to Game 4 real quick. The Dodgers did go with a bullpen day, didn't throw any of their high leverage guys. Right?
Correct.
The problem I had with that is that you cannot give a team confidence at all. And Dave Roberts, above anybody else, should know that.
Yeah, for sure.
I was worried that they had given and the only reason I was worried is because of my Dodger prediction. That's it. I didn't care who won the World Series, but it felt like Dave Roberts had given the Yankees confidence, especially seeing Game 1 against Flaherty, or the first inning of Game 5 against Flaherty. Seeing how that went, I was like, oh, Dodgers could be in real trouble here, because it was 3-0 after 1, 4-0 after 2, 5-0 after 3.
Ugh.
It was looking like another laugher. It looked like the Yankees were going to run away with it, take this thing back to L.A. But then, Brig, the fifth inning happened.
I know.
The fifth inning. Now,
did you hear? You didn't hear it because I texted you as soon as it happened. But I'm looking for it and I can't find it. But Dave Roberts' mid-game little like interview that they did in like the third or something.
Mm-hmm.
He had a little slip, like a little. It was this slight hesitation where he almost said, and we'll be better when we'll play it different when we get back to LA, is what it felt like he was trying to not say.
Wow.
And I was like,
he was,
whoa. Like it was, we're at third, maybe the fourth inning. I can't remember exactly when. And he got that mid-inning interview, and I thought for sure he had almost said something to the effect of, "Yeah, we'll put it together a little differently when we get back to LA." Is what he almost said. It was really interesting. I wish I could find the quote.
That is really
I can't find it.
Yeah. So let's go through the fifth inning real quick.
Oh, okay.
So first, I'm just going to go down the line here, Brig.
Okay, all right.
Kike Hernandez shoots a single to right field. Okay. And then Tommy Edman sends a line drive to center field, and this is where it started, right?
I know.
Line drive to center field, Judge is coming in on it, and you see him take his eye off the ball for just a split second to check Kike Hernandez. I don't know what he was doing. Hernandez has tremendous speed. A ball that shallow, there's no reason for him to tag or be far enough off to get doubled up with his speed. No way. In fact, Brig, after that ball hit off Judge's glove, Hernandez came really close to getting out at second base.
It was very close.
It was really close. Yep. So, kids, keep your eye on the ball. Watch it all the way into your glove.
All the way. And so if you want to be really good at it, do what Mookie Betts did at every opportunity and use two hands. Did you see Mookie Betts was using two hands to field almost every glove he could field, or every ball he could field that he didn't have to like lay out for, especially as the game progressed after Aaron Judge dropped that ball. It was emphasized through the camera angles and the play-by-play guys that he was using two hands.
Yeah. Anytime you can, use two hands because, for that reason. Exactly right. You don't want to.
There's just so many guys that don't, and he was almost like showing off.
You think he was trolling Judge with it?
I think so. I think he was making a point, and it was really funny, unless you're not into that, and it hurt my feelings. But yes, like I think he was. Okay,
so Judge's error, E8 on a line drive. Okay, now instead of runner on first with one out, you've got runners on first and second, nobody out. And then you have, let's see, this was Will Smith hits a soft ground ball to Anthony Volpe. Now, this is an interesting play because he's moving to his right. He's got a force out at third base. He makes the throw to third, right? I thought that was the right play. I've heard other analysts, I don't want to say that I'm an analyst, but I've heard analysts say, that's the right play. You're moving to your right. You've got a force out at third. Absolutely. That's the play that you make, right? It feels right. Because if there's nobody on first and Hernandez is on second, he's not going to third.
No, for sure.
Right? So he's going to hold at second because if it's not a force out, he doesn't have to go because you don't want to get that. You don't want to run into an out. Unfortunately, the throw was not the best,
errant.
and Jazz Chisholm is unable to dig it. So then you've got a throwing error on the shortstop.
Yep.
Runners on first, second, and third. Bases loaded now.
Yep.
And so then Gavin Lux, Shohei Ohtani both come up and strike out swinging. And I'm sitting there thinking, Brig, I'm like, are we going to get ourselves a noble tiger here?
Right. Like, how is this possible? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I was thinking at this point, Garrett Cole was just like, if these guys aren't going to help me, I'm just going to get out of the inning.
Yeah.
Right?
It was insane. Yeah.
But then Mookie Betts hits a little cue ball down the first baseline, hits the ball off the end of the bat. Funky spin on it, so Rizzo kind of had to like come around it to play it. Had to step back on it so he didn't get eaten up on it. But for whatever reason, Garrett Cole does not come over to cover first base. He looked like he was running into the dugout.
He was barely halfway up the baseline.
Garrett Cole should know that 0 out of 10 times Anthony Rizzo is going to go touch the bag. He never does. He should also know that Mookie Betts is wicked fast and highly motivated. Right.
Like, come on now.
Yeah, and I don't know. And I don't know if Cole wouldn't have made it anyway, because Mookie Betts was barreling down the
dude was
line there.
Hauling.
Yeah, he was moving. He was doing everything he could to beat that throw, and he did. Run scored. It's like, okay, now you have a 5-1 game
with 3 errors in a row.
Well, 2 fielding errors and a mental error. But I will say, Brig, after the judge error, that's when I was like, uh-oh.
Yep. That's everybody did. Players, fans, announcers, everybody was like, we're gonna have a problem here.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So
it was just.
Then after that, it goes Freddie Freeman single to center field. That scores 2, right? Yeah, that scored 2. And then Teoscar Hernandez hits a deep double to center field. Freddie Freeman freaking scored from first.
Yeah, Freddie with his bum
because
ankle.
There were 2 outs. He was running on contact, but still,
dude.
That dude I was impressed that he wheeled around and scored from first on that play.
Seriously.
Because that was a long run for a dude with a bum ankle. And as it turns out, apparently rib injuries.
Well, who knows anymore, right? The guy just, it doesn't even matter. He's like Superman. It's like nothing. Yeah. There's nothing that's going to get in his way. When he's decided, I feel like he's just decided.
Right. Yep. So that whole new ball game, 5 runs, all unearned in the 5th inning. So here's something crazy, Brig. Think about this. Game 5, 5th inning, 5 runs. Freddie Freeman wore number 5. Where's number 5?
Whoa, boy.
Whoa, that's a lot of 5s. That's kind of crazy. Numerology is very interesting to me. And I think that's fascinating, the way that it worked out. So It went on from there. The Dodgers ended up winning because they scored 2 runs in the top of the 8th inning off of sac flies. And who would have thought the sac flies in today's game would have been the difference to send it over the top? Because the Yankees did take a 6-5 lead in the bottom of the 6th inning.
They did. They did claw their way back.
And one of those base runners was a result, I guess. Yeah, a base runner was a result of catcher's interference.
You ready? Can I hit you with some serious hardship?
Do it.
If you're a Yankees fan, this is brutal, but I'm going to bring it up anyway, okay? As of that Game 5, the Yankees are now the only team in Major League Baseball history to blow a 5-run lead or more, allowing 5 or more unearned runs, committing 3 or more errors, catcher's interference, and a balk in the same game. It doesn't matter if it's regular season. It doesn't matter if it's postseason. It doesn't matter anything all the way back to 1913 when earned runs became an official statistic.
On a waning crescent moon, by the way.
a waning crescent moon in Game 5 of the World Series at home, playing against a guy with the number 5 on Game 5
on grass
or whatever. Like
that's crazy though.
No, seriously,
that's big time. So the Dodgers come all the way back. They end up winning the game. But this is my question for you, Brig.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I feel like it's a trick question. Did the Yankees lose Game 5 or did the Dodgers win Game 5?
The Yankees lost it. That's the thing. The thing that bugs me more than anything is I don't mind losing honest contests, right? But if I'm giving up a win, if I'm handing it to you, I got a problem.
Yeah,
and I feel like the Yankees
infuriating.
handed it to him. Yeah.
So this is the thing that I feel like. I don't feel like it's really either. So it's a trick question. I feel like the Yankees blew the lead.
Yeah.
But the Dodgers did end up winning the game.
Sure.
Because yes, they tied it, but they still had to get a lead. They gave up the tie by letting by the Yankees going up 6-5. But then at that point, the Dodgers did come back and they did do what needed to be done to win the game from there on out. So the Yankees blew the lead, but the Dodgers won the game is what I feel like happened there. And I don't feel like it's the same as necessarily the Yankees losing the game, the Dodgers winning the game, whatever. But I don't know. It's crazy though. Walker Buehler came in and got the save.
Yeah. Yeah, that was wild. Once they pulled Walker Buehler in,
not have that on my bingo card.
No, but once they pulled Walker Buehler in, I was like, oh man, ruh-roh. Like on 3 days, what was it, 2 or 3 days rest or something, and he was like, I got it. It's going to be all right.
If I had told you, Brig, if I had told you the Yankees playoff life in August, if I had said the Yankees playoff life in the World Series is going to come down to facing Walker Buehler, how would you have felt about it?
Oh, so good. I'd be like, all right, whatever. And if you had said out of the pen, I'd have been like, yeah, good. Awesome.
Yeah, love it. Bring it. We want it.
Bring it all day.
Yeah, but with the way he's pitched this postseason, especially this series, I was like, this game's a wrap. It's done.
That's exactly what, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
so
it was brutal.
Here's a couple interesting numbers for you, though, Brig. So the offense has really ticked things up and figured it out, because this is one of the things, too, is put the ball in play, good things happen for you, typically.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because we can talk about that in a minute, too. But the Dodgers left 10 men on base in Game 5, and the Yankees left 12.
Aha! Aha!
The Dodgers left a bunch, too.
I don't care.
The Dodgers left a bunch, too.
I said more than the opponent. I said if they lead the game in that one statistic, it will be the reason.
You're right. Yep.
I
want to try to find...
I'm having a hard time holding my language together, but I knew it.
I want to try to find, because John Boy shared an image. He shared a couple screenshots of from an article. I believe it was on the New York Post. Is that right?
Probably, yeah.
That talked about the scouting report against the Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
That the Dodgers had put together. And basically what it was it came down to the Yankees outfield is not very good, which was something we had talked about. Not nearly as athletic as the Dodgers. Alex Verdugo is up for a Gold Glove.
Right. And he did a great job until he blew the bubble. Like,
right.
Even after that, he did a great job. But I'm just bitter. That's all.
Right. But that's really what it came down to, though, is that their outfield is just not as good. You put the ball in play in the outfield, and things are going to happen for you.
Yep.
And that's John Sterling talked about. That seems to be a weakness for them, is defense. And there were other people in the article that said the same thing, that they don't necessarily focus on the fundamentals. They just focus on the fact that you're athletic and you know how to make plays.
Yeah, right.
In the Yankees organization, which it feels like, because you've talked about how Brian Cashman likes to collect baseball cards.
Yep. Listen, you cannot sit here and deny that the Dodgers played superior fundamental baseball. It just they played super clean, super basic, exquisite fundamental baseball. The bunts were successful, the sac flies were successful, the outfield was all over everything. They played it off the wall perfectly. They made pretty good throws most of the time from the outfield. A couple of errors at short, but ultimately, they played a really clean series.
Yeah,
and they
and it's
out-hustled the
interesting.
Yankees. They out-hustled the Yankees too.
I didn't necessarily think that ability in the field was going to be what it came down to in the end. Right? There's going to be a couple errors that would end up being the difference. Or even a mental error that would compound everything. Because this is the thing, is you have that Judge error in the 4th inning, you have the Volpe error in the 5th inning, and you have the Cole brain fart in the 6th inning, and then you have catcher's interference in the 8th inning.
Yeah.
The Yankees still win that game.
For sure.
But the problem is that it all happened in the same inning.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like that's a thing that happens, especially in the World Series, is you get a team in an elimination game that starts to feel a little bit tight.
Yeah.
And then things go south. It goes south for one guy, and it compounds and goes and goes and goes. And you see it elimination games in the World Series. You see it elimination games in the NBA. You see it in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
often that you see a team that gets blown out in the Super Bowl like this. How is this team here? It's like, well, they're literally playing the worst game of the year. Because something has gone wrong somewhere, and they have never recovered. The Yankees had one inning where everything went wrong.
Yeah,
they were not able to recover until after 5 runs scored with 2 outs.
Right. You're right, and when you're right, you're right.
Just the way it goes, Brig.
I just don't like it. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Well, I mean, if you look at it this way, though. So we'll talk more about the Yankees getting ready for next season and wrapping up this season, and I think next week is where we're going to do it. But if you end up bringing back Juan Soto, then I feel like pretty good team going forward, possibly.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the things that they can take away from the World Series and be like, hey, we were good enough to get there. We have a few things we need to address going forward. And if we work to take care of those, even in-house, rather than going out somewhere else, because this is the thing. Judge knows exactly what went wrong there. Right? Of course. Like, that is easily fixable. That was his first error of the season. He's not going to do that again.
Yeah. Nope, he's not.
Volpe, that's a tough throw. Kike Hernandez is freaking fast. That's a tough throw to make.
Lots of pressure.
How many reps?
First time at third this season.
How many reps do you think Volpe is going to take on that throw this spring?
Oh, dude. He's already doing it. You watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly right.
He's already doing it.
Exactly right. The Yankees are going to be doing PFPs all spring. Even if they weren't doing them before, they're going to be doing them a ton now.
Yeah.
Because
that's right.
That will never happen again.
It won't.
With the Yankees.
No, it won't. You're absolutely right.
So,
but we have got to talk. Listen, we have got to talk about how crappy Aaron Judge was this postseason at the plate.
Was not good, but it happens. It happens. Like, I know he has a track record in the postseason of not being great, right?
Yep.
And I'm
got to fix that.
The thing is, he was starting to come around at the end of the series.
He was.
Game 4, Game 5, he finally showed up.
Yeah.
I think if that series, honestly, if the Yankees had held on to get that game, how much pressure is on the Dodgers in Game 6? A ton. A ton of pressure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I think that if the Yankees had won Game 5, they may have had a shot.
I agree with that.
Because I wasn't giving them a shot after they won Game 4.
Yeah.
If they had held on and if they had not given up 5 runs in the 5th, I would have given them a shot.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
So.
Pretty rough.
But anyway. Yeah. Anyway, we're going long. Let's get out of here. Baseball family, let us know what you thought about the World Series. I was a little worried it was going to be boring like last year. Last year's 5-game World Series was boring in my opinion. I was a little worried about that this year, but it ended up not being.
It was not even close.
4 really great games and 1 game that was pretty good, is what I would say. But an exciting World Series, kept me engaged the entire time. Let us know what you think. Did you like it? Did you think it was boring? Did you not care because of the Yankees and the Dodgers? That I'm really curious about.